Welcome back to ESL 1 for the Spring Championship for Battlefield 4, our second season of 2014. There's going to be more on their way as well as we go through the year. We've lost another team. Lauren's back with me. It's
hello. It's
a bit of a shame because ESL, they're lovely guys. Yeah. Really, you know, you're chatting with them. They're a terrific team. You saw how friendly with MWM. MWM were actually disappointed that they had to knock them out because they're also good friends as well. But in the end, it comes down to they just weren't quite good enough.
I think they just weren't quite quick enough to get to that good peak, because you look at them yesterday, brilliant team, strong. Pyrogen struggled so badly. You look at today, the first map, where were they? They seemed to have this initial plan, it didn't really work, and then, well, that's about your lot. And then the second map, second half, they near on turned it with, what, 20 tickets left, or 10 tickets? That was the ESC I was waiting to see turn up, but a little bit late, sadly.
Yeah, it's a little bit too little, too late. We're going to switch our attention now to Group A once more. Of course, there are two groups this weekend. We're now going to find out who else is going home. So we've already lost two, Infamous and ESC, and right now we're going to play through Planetkey Dynamics versus Epsilon. This is, of course, a replay from the upper bracket earlier on. I think most of us, having looked at the regular season, said Epsilon have been 4 finals out of 4 cups. Dominated 3 of them, beaten Fnatic twice. They're the team to beat coming into this. And here they are on the verge of going home, because if they lose this one, that's it, they're done. How much will they have learnt, do you think, from the first match against PKD?
Well, I think that's the age-old. That's the difference between a good team and a great team. You can have the worst of starts, but the great team will overcome and just become this absolute monster towards the end of it. That's where we'll find out if Epsilon really are that team. Are they the team that can repeat this performance from the online series, or will it be a little bit of a shambles? Because I didn't really see much more from them than average, in the nicest way.
Yeah, go through their team now. Epsilon eSports on your screen. Horik yesterday, we said that, you know, a lot revolves around him and David, and those two really need to step up. I didn't see anything too bad from either of those players. They looked fine, right? But for some reason, again, it came down to mental strength. And I said to Reaper in the interview, why do your team have such fragility mentally? What is wrong with you guys? And he said it just seems to happen to them so often. These crashes always come in, server issues, whatever. They always seem to affect them, and it's really got inside their heads now, and that they can't kind of cope with it. Today, though, they've got to shut that stuff out.
Well, they have to. Excuse me. But the thing with those two players is they're in such pivotal points. So Horik, for example, let's look at Zavod. He's the player constantly rotating out A. He needs to be aware of everything going on to know that he's got a good chance to get there and do the damage. Now, Duke is the guy who just rips people to shreds. He's the guy who can go 20-1. He can do what we saw with Flax and, you know, a couple of the others, today's games, and, you know, a couple of Fnatic guys. If they don't do that, Epsilon are left with good players. It's great online. You can kind of muster yourselves back together, but in an offline event, you need a little more than that. So I'm hoping they can get there.
Okay. Planetkey Dynamics, on the other hand, they look very good in that first game against Epsilon. But if you remember back to the very start, they were 88 tickets down at one point. Yeah. And then the server crash happened. Only after that did they start to play better. Really weird. Of their lineup that you can see on screen right now, who to you is the pivotal guy? Who's the one they need to step up today?
Well, you'd always say Jera. It's an easy answer to that. But I look back at the actual games and who made those moments happen. I've got to say Scene was one of them. He pulled off a 1v3 that literally saved them in the game. And it does come down to these players that you may not expect to be that, you know, big hitter, to have these 1v3s. That's where you see the bigger players appearing. That's where I think Scene, if he can repeat this, it's a bit of a unique moment. But if he can find something to kind of do something similar, perfect. But Jera needs to be on point, and they need to be kind of going, we did good yesterday, let's do better today.
Okay, your predictions, with all due respect, were not working out very well yesterday.
No.
Dare I ask you to help the community with the vote, because you can vote on this game. And Pansy's going to give you her vote in a moment. And whatever she decides, vote for the other team, I think, would be the best advice I can give you. You can do that right now on ESL-1.com. Just click on Battlefield 4, go to the schedule, and pick your team. And you could have a chance of winning one of these fabulous goodies, courtesy of our friends at Razer. No, take your hands off it, Pansy. Instead, tell me, is this going the same way as it did in the upper bracket? Do Planetkey Dynamics win 2-0? Do they win 2-1? Do they go through? Or have Epsilon got that little bit of class about them? They can block out the mental issues they had yesterday and come through to the semi-finals.
I don't know. Okay, you know what? Normally I'll give you analysis, I'll give you reason and facts. But it seems that this event, none of it applies. I look at yesterday's games, ESC, great team, they'll do well. No, they mess up the first map.
Infamous. Katy Perry Dark Horses.
I can't give you predictions. I can't do this anymore because these guys are all about momentum. This is one of the biggest games they affect. If Epsilon are too warmed up and too caught up on yesterday's games, count them out. You might as well. If PKD can harness yesterday's games and go, well, that's a good starting point, let's do even better, there's your winner. But it's a new day, it's a new game, new maps even if it comes down to that.
Okay, all right. I don't think we really got a prediction out of that. So you're on your own.
PKD.
Really? Okay, all right. Well, you're still on your own because you still need to go to the website and vote and make sure your vote counts because there are a few of you at the top of the board right now for these 2 great prizes from Razer.
Do they want my job?
Well, maybe. You might have to come to the studio later and replace Lauren as well. Thank you very much, Lauren, for now. We are going to take a break here at the analysis desk and we're going to head over to our commentary team because the map vetoes are almost here. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is a big one for both teams. It's win or go home. You win and you're rewarded with a semi-final spot. Let's find out who it's going to be.
Well, it would be nice if one of you at home did take Pansy's job, because then we'd have an actual competent caster for once here at ESL. Besides me, obviously. But obviously in Dogbird as well. Right now we're getting underway here with PKD up against Epsilon. Now, we had the pleasure, obviously, to cast them in the first game yesterday. It was ridiculously close. And the thing was, I think Red Eye pointed out perfectly, it was after the server crash that it really turned things around. We had a huge lead, I believe, for Epsilon. There was 84 tickets they were at, and it was like 84 to like 14 or 84 to 17. And because of the restart, the way they had to do it, they cut that lead in half. And from that, they're able to pull ahead with about 3, or was it like one ticket win.
Yeah, and it was all because they got a restart. They were able to get a very good start for once. That's what they didn't have originally. They had a really bad start. Epsilon got initial control, and they never. It was a messy game for them, but they got a second chance. In a way, they had a far better start, and yeah, they took good 40 tickets off them, where it would have looked like really it wouldn't have happened. And these are going to be the average maps you're going to see. Lancang Dam played a lot by Epsilon, Zavod by Planetkey, and Locker as a decider. That's pretty standard map picks. I'd say Lancang Dam, I think it's the first time we've seen it.
No, I actually saw Fnatic play it yesterday.
Oh yeah,
and they
quick
stomped.
Yeah, but Lancang Dam is that map. It ends really quick. Whoever gets the initial 2 hold is usually in control. It's so hard to break, and that's why some teams kind of shun the map. It's interesting. Epsilon going to go pick it, and there's the rubber chicken. You know, this is a dangerous pick. This is a very dangerous pick.
I think the chicken. I was like, it could be dangerous.
The chicken's dangerous.
I could get a note and smack someone in the face with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you gonna say, Dogbird?
Nothing. Nothing.
I wasn't trying to sabotage you, but we do have we do have 2 of the 3 maps that we had last time they played. It was Zavod, Siege of Shanghai, and Locker. This time, obviously, not Siege of Shanghai. We're gonna see Dam, but you know, these two teams. You know, what's your thoughts on this map for them? Because, like you're saying, it's a can be one-sided map because if you get a good A's B hold or a good C B hold, it's really hard to break that. Do you think we're gonna see like a really wide margin in score?
Well, I think that's the reason why I think this map's really dangerous. Obviously, Epsilon feel very comfortable, and it got slipped through without being banned, which I don't think Planetkey were particularly comfortable playing it, but that's just my opinion. Lancang Dam, Epsilon pick it. They're obviously comfortable, but if they don't have a good break, if they don't have a good start, that will go over to Planetkey, and they will be the ones holding the initial bleed, and that's sometimes is all you need on this map.
Yeah, and you saw the audience's vote on this one, and it was a lot closer than last time when it was what 94 to 6, 92 to 8, something ridiculously low.
Yeah.
In favor of Epsilon. Obviously, some people out there were watching yesterday, and they're like, I think PKD can do that again here, and honestly, they very well could, but it depends on how they're going to show up today, and I really. A bit later on today.
Yeah.
And that's my screen.
Epsilon are, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the best teams. They've got some of the best players. It just sometimes doesn't materialize. Engineer class coming out for Nosy, which is, I think, going to be aimed at kind of getting rid of some of the cover.
Oh!
at this. Right on Asterix early on.
You got owned, son. Sorry, I had to do that because that you typically never ever see a lot pick up the kill right off the beginning of a game here. But either way, it's going to be PKD over on the Russian side. We're going to have Epsilon over on the Chinese side. And B, well, that one's already having some action break on top. And it looks like PKD are going to be the ones to actually lose control from the beginning. But a headshot coming out of Tom right there might just open things up.
Yeah, true. Need to get back into B, though. I don't know how that one's going over. You see, they went outside to clear up the attackers there, but they just left the B flag, and we've already talked about how important it is. They might have been able to get one kill with a rocket launcher early on, but they've already lost 10 tickets. This is very dangerous. You cannot allow a team to get into A like that.
But it was for some style points there, though.
Style points.
Definitely. They won this map already on style points for that. But it looks like PKD have been able to work their way in outsider, picking up a kill. They have locked down A and B. Now, here's the question.
There you go.
How can they hold this, or will they hold it? And, you know, walk us through what typically positions you want to watch while you're inside B.
You can see a lot of positions that are there just to get the information, which is what Outsider's here for right now. And you've got more the deeper positions, kind of lock down any aggression. Crossfires are what they want, and they also need to get information on Epsilon if they manage to break around the back flags. But this is the start that Planetkey wants. This is really good for them right now.
And we do actually have a 3-man push out of Epsilon on stage flag, so they will be able to pick that up here. And I want to point out one man here, and it's going to be Jared, because we saw him completely counter Horik when they played on Zavod yesterday, and that was one thing that, you know, kind of Epsilon was so good at working with, was around Horik and his playstyle here. And Jared Williams is super on the backside. He actually will not have anyone to really contend with here, as actually starting to move over towards that B flag. So he'll pick up one. He will get taken down from the side, though, so unfortunately he'll be forced back on that respawn, but he knows he's there. They have A and B yet again. And we have, look at this push coming in out of Epsilon. They push him from multiple directions. Horik, and he'll be the only man left to defend onto this, or at least try to cap this flag. He will be shot down. And that will be PKD locking things down here.
Yeah, you can hear Planetkey as well. They are getting very excited right now. See if we can tune into that.
Mark.
Hot corner, please.
Under A, going long stairs.
I support A, short stairs.
1-1-1.
There's two guys there, two guys there, two guys there.
There, B, behind, inside, low.
Two guys, they're pushing, guys, they're pushing.
One is here on fire exit. Fuck.
There's in A, they're in A, two guys. A.
Yeah, so it seems like a lot of miscommunication going on there, because you heard, I think that was, I think it was Tom just yelling, guys, there's two coming into A. There's two here. We need help. And no one really backed him up. Then they got pushed to B at the same time here. So we're going to see Epsilon, looks like, turn things around. They're getting A, they're getting B, and they're going to get C as well here. They're going to pull off a tri-cap here and really start to rake in some points.
Yeah, this is really dangerous for Planetkey. And really some very interesting decisions from Planetkey. There's just a moment there where Tom got killed by someone on the stairway and Scene didn't even change his view. I was looking right at him and he didn't even change his... this is just really sloppy from them. A trip cap when you've already had a 2-flag hold like that. You know, Planetkey really should not have allowed them to even get back into the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the difference between some great teams and some amazing teams. Their ability to really lock down that 2-1 hold, because right now, Epsilon, they've had this 3-cap for quite a long time here, and it's really starting to be reflected in the score. Nice shot comes from Jared, though. We'll pick up at least one kill onto Asterix. We'll push his way in towards the C flag. He has a respawn coming as well. He spots up Marsu with the 2-man push, and they will pick up the C flag. So they'll finally get one back, but this is only one flag, keep in mind. They're still missing out on at least one more to have the ticket lead in their advantage here. And right now, I'm getting a little bit worried for the side of PKD, because like you're saying, very sloppy play. This isn't the PKD we really saw yesterday.
Yeah, but this is a map that can swing. They need to be very aggressive. They need to do something a bit unorthodox to kind of put Epsilon on the back foot here. It's such a hard map, and especially when you've got the flags against them right now. They need to just go in wild.
Well, let's see what they do here as Outsider going to start to push in, spot that first man. Pick up the kill to ship. He has his teammates there. They're going to be able to push in from this one. And it looks like they will pick up the kill. Jura gets David 2K down. Now they will be able to get, looks like, free control. They're flanking from every single direction. And as you can see, there's not a single member of Epsilon left alive in this flag room. And we'll have Duke now get on the respawn here, trying to push in. Spot one of the men. And will, looks like, take down Outsider. No, actually he won't. He'll get taken out himself. And he actually loses his teammate. Horik gets dropped as well. Outsider pick it up too. And that right there almost has solidified the B flag as they're starting to cap it over. Not to mention the A flag at the same time. And Marsu gets dropped. That's going to be a tri-cap.
That was a wipe on Epsilon now. That's brilliant play from Planetkey, and that's what, if you can respond like that, first of all, attacking B alone is hard enough, but to get a trip cap out of it, that's great. But they got to play smart here. They got to work out where the pressure's coming in from Epsilon and not overextend.
Well, you can see them just getting picked off one by one, and Epsilon, I don't think I've seen all 5 up for, well, quite a while now, unfortunately. And actually, it's just getting a little high ground. Look at the respawns coming in. They want to hit this A flag, and you know what? There's really, I think PKD's going to let them have this one. They're going to back away like, all right, you guys can have that one, but we're going to still keep B because the respawns will come in. And this is going to be so damn hard for Epsilon to take B back here on this push.
That's if Planetkey can get themselves entrenched, and right now they're in a pretty precarious spot here. They can be overwhelmed, and there you go. You already see it starting here. Epsilon just starting to flow into the flag.
All right, well, you can hear the calls actually from the mics that are right next to him as well, that, you know, they realize where they're coming from. Look at this, 5 men lined up here. We see actually Jared pick up one on the outside on David, looking for number 2 here as he's getting naded down, but he's stalling for time. And, you know, they were down 30-40 tickets, but they pulled it back to only a 10 differential, and they might actually go take the lead here.
Yeah, this is brilliant for Planetkey. They had a great start, but you know, this could be a lot bigger score. This could be a lot more for Planetkey if they had held on a bit more and not gone for a trip cap so early. And you can see Epsilon now, they managed to break through.
They have, and looks like B will be going back over their side, and they have pretty much cleared out every single person from PKD. Look at the scene though, heading actually back towards C just to keep that one up. Obviously, they're attacking A at the same time. Outsiders swinging around to the staircase, and we'll be able to push in here. And I'm not sure how many people of Epsilon are alive in this. Well, 0 now. It's going to be 0 inside the A flag. So they will be able to get the 2-1 again. But now, where do you go from this? When you only have B, where should you hit next? Because obviously, there's 2 different directions you can go, and they're both pretty much equal.
They need to take B. You can hold this AC for a while.
Oh no, sorry. I mean, when you're on Epsilon side, you only have B.
Oh, sorry.
Where should you hit from that then?
They have been hitting this A flag consistently. Look, they're going for it again. They're going to jump onto that ladder, going to come in there, and that has been their go-to every time for A. They get onto that balcony and they just jump into the A flag.
All right, now they have committed quite a few men there because of that.
They spam it hard.
They lose out on B, overcommitting their men, and right now, you see PKD picking up the lead here, 51-42, and like I was saying before, this lead could have been completely different. Oh, nice shot coming in from, not from Horik, actually Horik getting taken down by a Nosy. But you can see, outside 12-8, Jera 11-9. Cena, unfortunately, he's 2-10, but he's playing back. He's gathering the information, more importantly, giving that high ground kind of advantage spot right now. And obviously, not reflected really in his score, but look at that. He will be taken down, unfortunately, at C, and that will be Epsilon flooding that flag.
Marsu played a very long waiting game with that C flag, and it paid off brilliantly, catching Cena completely off guard, and that's going to give him the flag control here. And now it's up to Planetkey to get some aggression going. And really, they've gone for A, but they've gone for the conventional going up the stairs, which is fine. It's easy to predict though and call a lot of the times.
All right, now they have to pull in Epsilon right now. Maybe Capo for A, maybe go for C, but Tom, he's working up towards A right now, and they went for respawn 2. He's currently 10-6. We'll actually look for the man. Well, unfortunately, that won't be behind him, and even the nades coming in, starting to cap it over here, but you see the man actually shooting at him right above him, and he'll swing on the corner. We'll pick up the kill on Ashley. He'll be taken down from that high ground, and that will be A and B locked down here, but Outsider, he has to hold on. He needs to stay alive here, and he will get taken down, but now what can a Nosy do about this? Because B is actually being contested so far, and they have a ticket lead, so be it only 8.
Yeah, bad positioning from outside of there, covering one entrance but completely relegating the back doors. This is dangerous for Planetkey. They've allowed that B flag to cap over, and once again, Asterix coming up from the upper balcony, getting a kill at A.
You would think they would know he's going to go there.
Every time. It's not like it's so predictable right now.
Well, they will get a tri-cap here. And they might be able to close down. You know, I never thought I would be saying, yeah, we're looking at like a sub 10 ticket or a 10 ticket lead at the end of this the first half between these 2 teams, and especially on the map alone. And right now, Epsilon, they might be able to pull them one out here. Is A going to be capped over, at least for a second, on the side of PKD. But Asterix, guess where he's going, guys? Yep, he's going up towards the top yet again here. And he's looking to get the shots off. And I wonder if they're going to even pay attention. They can hear him going up the ladder, but they don't even get the shot off. And look at this, Asterix getting some respawns in now, and they're going to be able to take this A flag back again.
Yeah, it's his go-to move. It's something he used to do all the time for UMAV, and yeah, I'm quite surprised he hasn't been getting spotted out a bit better. Planetkey overwhelming over at the B flag. They've got a rush here, but this is totally doable. They need to get that C flag capped over immediately, and from now on, be very careful with their spawns. This is right down to the wire.
Oof, yeah, they have 1 ticket remaining here up against the 22, but they're losing, actually not losing out, they're actually gaining C and B, so they have the 2-1. They can start to take away at the advantage advantage, and Nosy cannot come in anymore. And we're going to see Epsilon pick up some kills here and hold their spawns if they want to at least keep, you know, a plus 15 advantage. And you see all the nades coming in. Epsilon taking their time. They have 5 men here to push in towards this flag. And it looks like, well, Duke, he'll be taken down.
Yeah, all these revives are counting now. They haven't... The problem is Planetkey are sitting so far back. But to be honest, it doesn't even matter if they don't win this round. This is not many tickets to go into the next one. There you go. Epsilon are going to win with 12. But man, 12. That ain't much. That ain't much at all. That's a very close-fought game. Planetkey, you know, they had a great start. That RPG set the tone, definitely. You know, it was really working out well for them. I feel they could have held that beat a lot better, and you know, they really should have shut down Asterix. He gained them the reprieve from that bleed at least 3 to 4 times. More importantly, a flag capture. That's insane. So Asterix constantly giving Epsilon the chance to get back into their game.
Yeah, very true. And considering that we saw a strong start from PKD, getting a 2-1. You saw how quickly it turned for the side of Epsilon, picking up the tri-cap and maintain their own 2-for-1, and they clawed a huge lead for themselves. But now, I mean, obviously, on the second half, I'm expecting this half to not be as close, though. I'm expecting, you know, the teams to have, you know, been warmed up, you know, kind of realized the style Asterix. I'm not expecting to ever get another kill from that balcony position. I think PKD can honestly pull this one off.
I bet you a beer he does.
I bet you a beer he goes there, but he dies.
I bet he gets up the first time and he's fine. He'll get up there and get a kill from it. No doubt about it. There's so many places on those flags. So many points on that flag you need to look from. And the reason you'd catch people out, every time Epsilon caught someone out in either A or C was because they were looking out the window to try and support their team at B.
Right.
So they would be sitting there waiting at staircases, waiting, hearing for the fire. As soon as they heard it, they'd come up and get the kill because they knew exactly where they were.
All right, well, should we up the stakes here from a beer to something else? Because you're getting pretty confident. Maybe a meal. Maybe you should buy me dinner. Something expensive, something nice and classy. But either way, we're getting underway with our second half of the first map. Epsilon up against PKD. And well, right now, Epsilon, they do have the lead in this first map. Only 12 tickets, though, unfortunately for them. Let's see what happens this time. And what do you expect to, you know, see both teams go for? Are we going to see like a big rush towards B? Or might we see, you know, one of the teams swing around the outside this courtyard and hit A or C?
Epsilon do like to swing around the outside, but I think both teams know what they have here and they need that B flag as much as possible. It looks like you're probably going to see David going in the middle trying to get some picks as people run across. And more importantly, the spots as well. And they have a few spots straight off the bat.
And you can see, both these two players from each team just watching the crosses, just like you're saying, and it looks like B will be rushed down as quickly as possible by the side of Epsilon here. And PKD, well, unfortunately, won't be able to pick up the B flag just yet, but we do see the first kill coming in. David picks up the kill to Jera, but outsider returns onto Marsu, picks up a second as well, and that has weakened this B defense now as he even gets the respawn onto Revive right there, or the Revive, sorry. And it looks like they might be able to push in, might be able to get the early 2-1. It might be able to build up a little bit of a lead here.
Yeah, Horic holding down that B flag right now, being the spawn point for a lot of the team. So 2-on-2 there. It's trades once again. Revives are coming in. Planetkey could take this. And once again, Horic shutting down that pressure. Such a key player right now, holding down the most important flag in the game. And Tom, more spawns. B has just gone crazy.
B, it's feeling like C on Zavod, if you guys know about that map. And that point, because everyone, like you said, throwing out bodies here, trying to gain control of it. And I want to say it's still in the way of Epsilon here, and it looks like it will maintain that. And I believe Jared actually just rushed in towards the A flag, so trying to apply some pressure from the backside. And they will at least neutralize it here and turn it back to a 2v1 for themselves. But Scene just trying to get, seems like a little bit of information here. And, you know, fighting with your back against the wall in B seems so difficult on this map.
Yeah, 2 spawns far, far away from the action, both from David and Asterix.
Oh, let's see. Is he going to pick the kill or is he going to die? Come on! Come on! You know he's going there, guys. And he picks up 2! All right, well, Asterix, if it's not broke, why fix it? He's picked up kills so many times. Just like you pointed out, the amount of points he costed the side.
3 kills. From one position which he's been going to all the time. He did that in UMAV, he's doing it now for Epsilon, and there you go. This is going to be a potential trip cap.
Well, I hope you're ready for your classy meal at McDonald's, because that's what you're going to get. And right now, I mean, like I said, 3 kills. He's given the vision. He's letting them know where they are. They do lose out on, obviously, B there. So there's still 2 cat, but Again, if Asterix can do that every single time, I see it very difficult for PKD to do anything about it.
Well, the trick is for them to just hold C and B instead of A, because apparently A is just Epsilon's flag from now on.
Yeah, very true. And all right, now no outer respawns come in just yet. Here, but look at this. We have Jared pushing on the backside of B, looking for maybe 1 or 2 men that are actually crossing over, and he will spot them out here, but not picking up the kills just yet. But he's stalling for time, and if we ever see a flag ever being capped, it's probably going to be Horik, which he does get taken down, though. So 118 to 111. Remember, it's only a 12-ticket threshold here, and well, Duke picks up a nice shot with that pistol.
Yeah, mistakes are starting to come in for Epsilon right now. They're starting to get picked up around outside of B. Horik's nading his own team. This is very dangerous, but more importantly, Epsilon are keeping that pressure, keeping the revives coming, and constantly feeding into B. It's good if they come out with some success, but if they keep losing out, they're going to lose tickets twice as fast as they would normally.
And, you know, I want to question you on something in particular, because Marsu, he was a big MVP for Epsilon yesterday. He's been very quiet so far in this game.
You can't always come out with great successes, and sometimes you play positions that aren't just fun. By fun, I mean you ain't going to get much action. And then that's what happened here. Epsilon are just smashing into B. That's 4 down there already. And here we go. Once again, Planetkey held a very strong position in B for a long time, and now they're being threatened with a potential trip cap.
And let's see the respawns seen up towards the northeast, Jared up to towards the northwest, and Outsider, he's no Asterix. He failed his jump onto the balcony that time, and I wonder if he's going to do it again. I'm sorry for calling you out like this, Outsider, but I got to watch. All right, so he'll land it this time, but there's no one there, unfortunately, for him. And he won't be able to pick up any kills, but at least be able to get in there, and I would imagine just a second with the help of Gerald flanking in from the backside. And the tri-cap, it's lasting for a long time here. They need to turn this around really quickly because that lead that they had is gone.
Yeah, definitely. Scene is playing a very long game outside of B. They've got control of that A flag. They're trying to bait out the respawns from Epsilon, and it hasn't worked because Epsilon know they just have to hold on to that B flag, and they're doing a great job of it.
Yes, they are. And right now, I mean, they have 3, now down to 2, but if you look at kills really quick from both teams, it's 29 and 27 in favor of Epsilon. And Duke right now is 11 and 5. He's the guy, I mean, you could explain it for everyone that wasn't watching yesterday. He's the guy that Epsilon kind of depends on to really have a big game.
Yeah, he does do very well a lot of the time. He's 11 for 5 right now. It's one of the best scores I've seen with him for a while. And he, online especially, he is an absolute beast. He does maybe have LAN nerves and doesn't perform quite as well as he does online, but he is all-round a good player.
Well, Horik still holding down, locking down that B flag here, and right now you see PKD having a weird spawn out of a nose. He's going for the random one around towards the C flag here, and I think we should probably actually listen into the side of Epsilon here, as you know, they're kind of on the brink, and I want to hear their communication when it comes to calling out who's coming from where and what they need to do to hold on to that flag.
Wait, don't play it, don't play it.
I got one more.
Defensive. Oh, Buzz my guy failed. Spawn on me. One on A.
Spawn to David,
One A flag.
Hey, careful. Let's push B from this.
1 second dead. Careful, two catwalk. Going C.
I go back to
Spawn Duke.
We're spawning at top. Yeah, they're coming.
Spawn Duke.
I was going to hear, I mean, they're not feeling like they have this game in their bag just yet. Obviously, as you can see from the score, it's sub 10 tickets, and Outside are able to pull out a big player. They're able to lock down and control that C flag. Not to mention, Jared over at the A flag has been able to pick that up. So a 2-1 going back to PKD, but not necessarily the flag cap that they want to have, or at least the best flags for him.
Yeah, David trying to bait out a movement there towards B. Very precarious place to defend that flag, and it's completely open right now, and Planetkey are probably going to sneak this one. Right now, Duke PT's hanging around. He's the only one who could possibly get back to B. And Planetkey are trying to defend C, and that B is just totally wide open. If they pull this off, this is going to be a trip cap, Jason, and wow, Planetkey is starting to take the lead here.
Yes, they are. I mean, they're only down about, well, actually, they're not down. They're ahead by a couple of tickets right there, about 7. And remember, 12 is that threshold. As long as they can get above that, it would be very good. Look at this. Epsilon committing every single spawn towards that C flag. But I don't know why Jared actually pushed up. That seemed like a big mistake. He could have backed away and could have just defended on the B flag. And now we're going to see Epsilon go for the push onto it. And there's nothing that PKD can do about it.
They're totally out of position in that B fight. They are picking up the kills and they are making Epsilon work for it, but they're in predictable places. And right now you can see David trying to sneak around the back while Asterix gets him back, but they take him down.
Wow.
Asterix is the last person alive for Epsilon, and all of a sudden Planetkey are taking a strong lead.
Somehow they hold on to it with those respawns, and right now PKD, they're above the threshold. They're ahead, and if they can hold on to this, it would be fantastic. But Epsilon, if you're in their shoes, like, what do they need to do? I mean, Asterix, I'm assuming, might go around to the back of A, but time is so of the essence right now that I don't think he can even afford to do that.
They don't have enough time to put a pressure on A, and the last person that could just got taken down. That's Duke. They're resorting now to hammer tactics on that B flag, and that can be painful to any team.
Well, let's see how it goes this time, as we do have 4 men from PKD, 2 men on the outside, 2 men on the inside. They're trying to gather this information. Is Jerry going to play the high ground, but he will be taken out by Hork. Let's actually tag along with Hork, see how he does here, as he's able to pick up the first one. We'll be able to pick up a second one as well, and that has opened up the B fight completely here. And the bleed that was on the side of Epsilon is now going over to the side of PKD. But let's see if they can hold on to it, because Tom, well, he was still alive on the outside, and he knows he's the last man inside of B. Will be taken down. No respawn's going to come in, and look at these spawns coming on the backside of PKD. They went for the random on Jera, and it didn't work out.
No, it didn't at all, and that was very sloppy from Planetkey there. There was no need for anyone to be as far outside of the B flag as Tom was. He might have got a kill for it, but he got killed almost immediately. And now they are literally only maybe about 2 to 3 pushes away from being knocked out here, and they don't have as many tickets as from the last round, so they have not much to play with right now.
One thing we can, I guess, both agree on is that this game between these two teams is ridiculously close, and it's probably going to continue that way as sorry, picks up a kill. He's sitting in the bathrooms right there, but he's kind of all by himself. Maybe waiting for a respawn or two, but he's taken down yet again here. And 37 tickets, they don't have much more to work with. They have to cap something soon, and they had time to, you know, cap over to C, and they're going to be going for it. Jared picks up, I guess, the crucial kill onto 2 men, onto Duke and someone else, and they will get the 2-to-1 hold, and they only have 20 tickets to really worry about here.
And they're going for B as well.
Wow.
Epsilon here have 1 guy left on the map, and that's Horek. He picks up the kill at A, but he has to move so quick now. He needs to get straight away to B. They don't even have time to go to C, and at this point, Planetkey on the cusp of taking this one.
Let's see, Outsider, well, he will drop here. They need to hold on to this, like you're saying. They will have respawn coming up soon, but 12 tickets, 11, now 10 to go here. PKD, they could pull this one back. They could pull up another upset here. The first map of their best of 3 versus Epsilon, and the winner of this would obviously be going on to play against the second place team from Group B, which we will find out a little bit later. But saying he will be dropped here. Epsilon looks like they have gained control of B. And now PKD, what are they going to do? They have a good spawn out of a nosy to go for the back up on A, and they set Jared, but he got taken down. They might back out for themselves. But Outsider, did he just clean up inside that B flag? And he did.
They're all respawning in now. It's 2-on-2 right now, and Outside is the last guy left there. They clear out B. They just cleared out B. This is the last chance. Duke PT so close they could stop this, but they've only got 3 tickets, and that bleed is now against them. Epsilon are going to lose the first map.
Wow, and somehow PKD, look at how excited they are. They come back with 19 tickets, only 7 ahead of the other team, and somehow they do it right there. Fantastic job, great teamwork. They came together in the second half, like we didn't see them unfortunately do in the first one, and they were able to get those attacks off, and well, there's the chicken being squeezed.
There's the danger of playing a map like Dam. It can go so wrong if you cannot get that B hold, and that's basically what we've seen there. Risky pick by Epsilon, and it backfired.
Yeah, very, very, very true here. And you mentioned, Epsilon, they're a very good team on Lancang Dam, but I guess, PKD, they've been preparing for it. And I'm actually really curious to hear what PKD's train schedule was coming into this, because they didn't do amazing during the entire season. I mean, it was nothing super impressive. They played solid, obviously. They came through trying to actually find 6th place and got to the semifinals only once, but they're still playing like a solid team, and it's this offline environment kind of aspect where Pyrogen, we saw them last season, 16, come out placing 2nd when they went to, obviously the LAN, but they're really stepping up when they need to.
Yeah, definitely, and they've just been a solid team. They play with each other for a long, long time, and they just know what to do, and, it shows there. They're confident in putting their players in dangerous places, and the rotations were pretty solid there. At no point was I thinking, that's... you should be here, you should move quicker there. They were in the right place at the right time, and even if they didn't make it, they were at least trying. So it's not like in some teams where you can visibly see a communication breakdown. They obviously just don't know where they should be. Maybe they miss calls sometimes, but that's normal. That happens all the time. People exaggerate numbers sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
But that everyone knew what they were doing all the time, and that is easily one of the most important skills for a Battlefield team.
I think the only thing that we can really critique is them not looking at the balcony at A often enough. You know, letting Asterix kill them over and over again, because if they would have stopped that, if they would have made, or they would have killed Asterix, I think they would have had the first half in a pretty big style.
Yeah, and you did kind of see a more of a focus on the C flag very much in the second round.
All right, we're going to be kicking off Zavod here. We're going to have Epsilon over on the Russian side. PKD now one map away from getting into the playoffs over on the US. Night casting with ESC versus NYM, and they went for some really interesting takes in the beginning.
Well, and also that really hurt them as well. I think a pretty standard start for both sides here. They want the initial B and the bleed, but yeah, as you can see right now, Epsilon are playing a very aggressive game for C.
Looks like no one will actually be destroying this wall right here. They will take out, obviously, the door, but look at this. We see one man charging straight in. That's going to be, I believe, Horik right there, or Asterix picking up quite a few kills, and he has, actually, it was Marsu, sorry, has picked up, well, enough to actually apply the pressure. They have A, they have B, and they might even be able to pick up C here, because look, there's only one man defending against it, and Nosy, can he hold on with the respawns coming in? And it looks like his teammates will be able to clean up enough, and he gets taken up from the backside, and that will be Epsilon pulling off a very, very early tri-cap.
That was a full wipe there on Planetkey, and now they're going to be stuck on the worst flag possible, which is A. This is a brilliant start for Epsilon, and definitely what they need after a very troublesome first map.
I remember we did see these two teams play on Zavod just yesterday, and, you know, Epsilon had an 84 ticket lead at the end, well, pretty much at the tail end of the first half, but unfortunately the server did crash, and they lost that lead going down to 42. But I wonder, they have to be out for revenge right now. They have to be looking at this like, you know what, we know we can beat you on this map. We've done it before. We just need to come together and really focus down here, because well, we don't want to get knocked out just yet.
Yeah, definitely. And right now, David2K playing a very smart game there, opening up a possibility of going for A if they want. They're obviously not 100% sure where this Planetkey pressure is coming in. They're hitting B, but they know they're around C as well. They've cleaned up Outsider, so it's only a B push that can really work. They're going random spawns, but Jared's so far away over there.
Let's actually take a look exactly where he is. He's over towards the top side of A now, and it looks like it will be David, who's actually kind of pulling the Horik role, funny enough. He's the one that's been faking around back towards the A site here, as we saw him yesterday. And Jared, well, he's looking for the kill. The man is right off to his left. Will he spot him out? He actually will pick up the kill, and that will be A back to the side of PKD, and they will have a 2-1 here. And also, as you can see by the scoreboard, they're down already quite a few tickets, already sitting there below 30.
Yeah, I'm watching Duke actually trying to get a bit of a control over that B flag. But yeah, Epsilon just seem to be outnumbering Planetkey all the time at these flags, and it's showing in the tickets right now. This is a bit of a thumping already.
They're kind of running around in circles, capping things over and over again, but Epsilon, they just seem to be one step ahead. Look at this Jared, though. The respawn coming in random onto the A flag here. Will Tom pick up this kill? It looks like he will actually be dropped here, so I'm assuming Asterix feels like A is, you know, no one else is going to be there, but honestly, as we can see, it's going to be capped over, and it will be attacked. But then, again, PKD, they just can't get a foothold here.
Yeah, they can't. They're just getting bullied off all these flags. Epsilon here are doing so damn well, and, you know...
I've never seen that spot before. Asterix seems to love ladders.
Yeah, it gets used. It got used quite a lot initially, but it's quite an easy one to kind of catch out. So, yeah, Asterix does like those kind of sneaky little spots.
He picked up 2 kills off it as well, and might even be able to get a third, but Scene will, in fact, drop him. So PKD, they're going to be able to push on a B here, it looks like. They will have 4 men there, and the 1 man they had at A will be taken down. So again, they're going to get B, yes, but they're still going to lose A. They're still not able to maintain the 2 cap, and look at this, they're already down almost 60 tickets here.
Yeah, they can't keep the ticket bleed off their back at all, and they get left with 1 flag, and oh my god.
Well, at least they don't have an 84 ticket lead at the bare end of the first half.
Epsilon are easily the most cursed team.
I really don't know how it could only happen to them and them only here.
I don't know. If I was Planetkey, I'd kind of be laughing right now.
I feel like they maybe have like a special binding, or that's kind of like confusing the server and making it crash, or because the thing is, they were winning by so much, and you can see at Duke's face, he's just like profanity words.
It's just Epsilon. It's every time they play, it just seems to be them going down.
I don't know what to say here. And
well, they were completely far ahead in that game. I mean, they'd lost 10 tickets at most there. They had the best start you could possibly get.
But the question is, how do they go about restarting this? Do they have that lead again? Do they start from the very beginning? I mean,
well, it's obviously not our decision, but yeah, they were really, really far ahead in that one. It's going to be a fun one for the admins, but yeah, Epsilon, no luck at all. But they had a great start there. They got the first map, first flag. They get B, they get C, they get A. They got everything.
Well, hopefully we'll be getting informed very soon by our admin team just to kind of figure out what is going on. So we can update you guys at home, obviously, and it's kind of a shame that this does happen, but, you know, there's nothing really, I guess, you can't really kind of look back at me like, you know what, you have to kind of ignore it. You have to kind of just put it off because you realize it happened already. You have to look into this one with a fresh new mindset. And that's the one thing that you mentioned about Epsilon was if you hit them hard enough, they'll shatter. And this is one of those things that can really kind of put them off.
Yeah, they had a flow going there, and no doubt about it. They were easily set to take that map, I feel. They were a good 50, what were they, 140 to about 130, to like just under 30?
They had over a 30 ticket lead. Yeah. We'll say that. I'd say about 40 to 50.
Yeah, they were doing very well. And more importantly, at that point, they had the bleed as well. And they were just bullying them around the flag. So, yeah, it's that's a nasty one.
Yeah, they had 140 tickets left, as I'm seeing when I just rejoined the server. Obviously, the other side score isn't correct because it was taking over the entire time. Yeah, but it was 140 to, let's just say, about 100. Maybe someone actually in Twitch chat can let us know if you were paid attention to that directly. But it looks like they're just sorting things out with the admins, just trying to figure out what is going on. And again, hopefully we can be informed on what the I guess the plan is to go about here with the restart. But again, so unfortunate. And I'm really curious why that actually, or you know, I'm really curious how Epsilon are going to come back from this though, because we saw them last time. They just completely shattered. They just completely died in that.
Yeah, it depends on how this is going to be sorted out, because when they had a chance to basically have a fresh start, Planetkey, obviously their start on this map was absolutely terrible.
Okay,
it was so bad.
It looks like about 90 tickets, so even less than we thought.
Yeah, yeah. At that point, it was already pretty far ahead, and yeah, it was pretty nasty. They had a B flag by the time it went down, so this is a little.
Yeah, we're looking at like a 50 to 60 ticket lead here.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And actually, I really want to see their faces when this does happen too, because you know,
I want to see David's face. David's face is like easily the most expressionless when this thing's up.
Just immediately like, see, I mean, it's unfortunate, but things like this happen obviously within esports, since you have to use, you know, the internet. You have to use computers. You don't get to use a ball or an egg-shaped ball, I guess is what you can call it. I don't know.
Balls do burst.
Because Pansy likes to harass me about the American football and how it looks like an egg. It's not football. It's handball. Yeah, or egg ball. Yeah, whatever. You guys are weird. But yeah, obviously, you know, we can look at this on the side of PKD, obviously with their headsets off. You know, they're kind of talking things over. I think maybe the admins have come to a decision on what we're going to be doing as everyone has started to reconnect in here. But remember, you know, PKD, they have a one-map lead. They won on Lancang Dam, and it was no easy feat for them.
Yeah, most definitely. And in a lot of cases, like I said, Lancang Dam's one of those ones. And yeah, Planetkey did really well. They did get control of that B flag quite regularly, so I quite liked that. But the second map was going all Epsilon's way once again.
Well, I mean, again, really unfortunate, but maybe we should move past that because it looks like they are sitting back down and getting things ready to go here. But like you said, Epsilon, they had a good groove. Like, they were looking like the first map didn't affect them. They were really built up a nice lead. Asterix was doing a pretty good job of getting those nice flanks, using the ladder and that kind of balcony position to his advantage. You know, Horik, he kind of stopped doing the Horik roll. And it seemed like, I believe it was David picked that one up for him, took the torch, and was really able to provide him the flags that he couldn't cap last time against PKD. Yeah,
no, definitely. I'm interested to see if those two have switched roles at all, because you are seeing David play more in Horik's positions, and Horik's playing a lot more of an aggressive role, but more with the team instead of being a lone gun where he is a lot of the time.
All right, well, it looks like I'm just kind of getting words that server has been restarted yet again here, just to make sure everyone gets in and everything has been sorted. And well, right now PKD, I mean, they must have been on such, or they were on such a high after winning the first map, and We didn't see that high carried over, though, unfortunately, because they were struggling the entire time to get a second flag. They were always like one step behind Epsilon. They were always, all right, guys, we got A, now let's hit B. Oh, wait, they have C and B on us already. They were able to back cap us because they committed so many men every single time to each flag. And, you know, looking at that, that's not a good sign for me.
No, it's not at all. And it all comes down to, like, the start. They didn't win out on any flags. They lost out at C due to Horic breaking through. They lost out at B. And yeah, they never got back into it.
And you're seeing the final moments of the first map here on Lancang Dam, and Planetkey, they just explode off of this one as they see there's only one ticket left to go, and they are so happy about that. And I believe that's David just kind of like, yeah, it stings a little bit. And so we can't take anything away from Planetkey in that first map because they played so phenomenally well, and it's just absolutely seem to be that step behind. But you know, the Zavod, it's funny enough because they chose Lancang Dam. And they didn't struggle, but they didn't win it. But they didn't choose Zavod. Planetkey chose it, and Planetkey was just getting completely owned. Yeah, no, totally. And
they failed at B, C, and A. They tried all 3 flags. They were unsuccessful at all of them. 2 of them came down to 1v1s. Horic at C, and I think it was David out at A. And then it became like the rest going on at B. And then from then on out, you just got to get the flags anyway. It's more of firefighting than it is coherent planning. You're just rushing to get flags. So you need that bleed off you. And that means that Epsilon can just react easily. They can just predict it and always be one step ahead.
And the thing is, it's not like they're holding a flag like we see Dignitas and Meet Makers did when they played yesterday. It's not like, all right, we're going to defend onto C and we're not going to let anyone through. It was more like, let's be fluid. Let's like, all right, if we see, you know, their 5-man squad rushing to B, let's move off of C, head towards A. Just get one step ahead of them. Let's stay with that advantage. And it worked out well for them. I wonder if they're going to go with the same kind of strategy here or maybe change things up. And the admins are just asking if both teams are ready. And I hope we are informed with exactly what they're going to do for this one. I don't know if they're restarting the entire half to play from the start or if there will be some sort of lead given over to one team. But either way, I mean, Epsilon, maybe they don't even need that back because they had over a 50-ticket lead.
Yeah, definitely. If anything, just give them the B flag and give Epsilon the other 2 with a few tickets. But I don't know how it's been done. But it looks like we are going live.
And yeah, it looks like the admins have gotten it ready from both teams. So we'll get this one going in here in just a few seconds. And we apologize, guys. It's fortunately something that's kind of out of our hands, some technical difficulties. And honestly, want to bring you the best Battlefield 4 action that we possibly can. And there's obviously some more games coming up today. We have the Group B, the rematch of Meet Makers versus Dignitas. Both actual groups getting the rematch in to see who advances on to play against Fnatic. And obviously, the teams here right now are playing to get their chances to go up against Pyrogen into the playoffs. And if you're looking at Fnatic and you're looking at Pyrogen, who would you want more?
Pyrogen. Fnatic haven't struggled so far, and Pyrogen have looked a little sloppy. They looked really good against Dignitas yesterday, but they didn't look very good against ESC, and that surprised, well, everyone. So yeah, definitely probably do not want to have to take on Fnatic.
All right, well, I believe they might be restarting one more time.
Yeah. Since
people have not spawned in fully, just to get them on the appropriate sides here. But as you can see, the server's working. We're good to go here. And both teams are getting their minds set back in. And, you know, being an ex-pro player, how hard is it to get your mind, you know, into that? Because obviously you saw them, you know, take off their headsets. They immediately were thrown off. They were immediately on tilt from that. But to refocus, like even as a caster, that's really hard to do when you go on tilt.
Yeah, these guys have been in that situation before, but this is a team we have noticed has really struggled with this kind of problem. So, well, hopefully they know that this is the most important game they're going to play in this season, and they need to just wake up and just keep playing. Just forget about it. They did so well, and just take confidence in that.
All right, well, looks like we will be getting back underway here in just a few seconds, guys. The countdown has started up. Epsilon will be on again on that Russian side, and PKD will be up again on the US side. And now this is my question. Will we see a change of strategy from both teams? I'm assuming PKD is the one that has to go with something different.
Yeah, definitely. They need a strong start as best as they can here, and that's something they didn't have last time.
All right, well, things are kicking off. PKD, it looks like they're going to go for, I guess, the same strategy this time. and maybe win out on the 1v1s a little bit better. At least hope, or at least let it go down to their aim here. But only one man from Epsilon actually working towards B here. And it looks like that should go in the way of PKD, at least based off of numbers. And well, over towards the A flag, it will be a 1v1 there as well. But look, it's Astrix and Hork pushing through C yet again. They're going to get the capture. They're going to get a tri-cap at the beginning. And David, he defends against Jer on the A flag. And not to mention, Duke 1v2 has held on to B. They almost got a complete squad wipe. They get the tri-cap, and they get a strong early start. Yeah, this is really, really bad for Planetkey. Once again, not able to do what they could. But there you go, the spawns are coming in for Planetkey, which are much better than before. Possible opening up for C and A if they can get there. Okay, I just got word from our admins that we're actually going with the scores that we had last time. So Epsilon, they start at 140, and PKD will start at 90. So if I can do math correctly, if we see PKD drop below 90 tickets, then they will have lost out on the first half. I will get confirmation on that in a little bit. I'm guaranteed wrong. If they drop, okay, whatever. I'll get word from our admins because their math is way better than mine. So let's just get back to the game here because PKD, well, they got the 2-cap back for themselves. Yeah, finally, and they're getting the kills up at top of 8, so that's really good for them. But this is really risky. They've already lost out a B. They're just always one step behind. Okay, so if they drop to 60, they drop to 59 tickets, they're out in the first half. Okay, so that was fixed a little bit better. And oh god, that was pretty sad for me. It's 10 for the other side though. If Epsilon drop below 10, then they have lost out on the first one. But either way, let's let this one go because right now, PKD playing a lot better. The score is still reflecting similar things, and they have been able to pick up the 2 caps here in Epsilon. Well, now they're the ones really struggling. David was the last man standing. They go for the random respawn, which Astrix gets, and doesn't hit on A just yet here. As we now have Inozi off to the side. If Inozi picked up this 1v1, he will hold on to A, and they will in fact get it here. And they will maintain that 2-1 hold with the help of A and B. And Epsilon looks like they have gate control of C here. At least we'll picking up the kills as well. They haven't gotten it just yet here, it seems, but they will get the revives, and that will be still 2-1 in favor of PKD. They are pulling back this lead. Yeah, slowly but surely, and they need to be very careful not to just overextend here because that is becoming an issue for them. And Epsilon are just able to sneak around the back of Planetkey, who are playing very static on all their defenses. Very predictable. All right, well, no, it's predictable right now. It's definitely working for PKD at least at this point. And well, we can look at kills. Yeah, it's 19-16, still in favor of Epsilon, but obviously the score, it's kind of in reflection of that, but it's going to start to sway really, really quickly as Outsider picking up the kill onto Marsu on the outside. Again, Marsu not really having the strongest of games so far. He's 5-5 so far, for his team, so he's doing pretty damn good. But not like what we saw yesterday at PKD. You know what? They're the ones who get the tri-cap. They're picking up C, they pick up the 2v2, and it looks like Outsider will be out on the outside to hold on to B for a little bit longer. Yeah, definitely, and this is better for Planetkey. This is much better, but they're not. They don't even have any way to stop any pressure onto these A flags. They're not even trying, and now they're going up against a well-dug-in Epsilon team around that B flag all the time. Oh, Jer, he will get taken down. They're trying to go for a little bit of a pincer move. They are capping over B. Scene trying to pull them back towards the flag here, as it looks like Tom going to give him a little bit of cover in the meantime, at least from the backside of the flag. Nade's even going to come in. I don't think he's going to head to anyone just yet, and it looks like we will have Scene being taken down. So this could be now the 2-1 finally going back in favor of Epsilon if they can get this kill onto this last man, Tom, who might be waiting for a respawn or two in here. Maybe Scene can get back and help him out. He picks up one kill, won't get the second one, unfortunately, and he will drop. So that will be the 2-1. And now we see PKD going for the attack onto Scene. It looks like they're successful in it. Yeah, just Epsilon are just solid defenders on that C flag. They just seem to have the so they just know where to be half the time, and more importantly, they stay alive and keep those spawns coming in. Sorry, that was pretty funny. He threw a nade. Like, he saw the guy run down the stairs and was like, "Crap, I have to throw the nade." He pretty much killed himself with the other guy, but he got the kill either way. And PKD will delay them for a little bit here. As Marcel up the top side looking for Tom. Didn't connect with this shot. He actually could hold on to the flag here, and he won't connect just yet. He won't even pick up the kill. He's missing so many shots, and it looks like he gets some respawns in though from his team anyways. But that will be a tri-cap again for a split second for PKD. In the meantime, David pulling the Horric roll, going over towards A. And Epsilon, they still haven't kept over C just yet. They will neutralize it. This allows PKD to get back towards the flag here. And Horric pushing out just a nice shot onto that man. That is Tom. And Astrix being dropped as well. They can't seem to really do anything here. It's a bloodbath between these two teams. Yeah, and one is favoring Epsilon. They keep the spawns coming in on C, and they come in quite regular. As soon as someone's safe, they call for them, and they come in en masse. And right now, this is working really well. Oh, Epsilon are kind of bunching up at C here.
But this does mean they can jump off onto any of these flags, especially when they know that A cannot be that heavily defended.
I feel like we're seeing Epsilon play like PKD did in the last little bit of action they had, and Epsilon's playing, or PKD's playing like Epsilon did. They're kind of PKD's ahead of the rotates, and Epsilon, they seem to be one step behind, committing too many men to a lot of these flags. And look at this, 91 to 69 here so far for PKD, playing fantastic here. The negative coming from outside, gonna be a little bit off, a little bit too high there, but still he's stalling them on C. He does get taken down, and look at this, Epsilon committing 2 people towards that A flag, expecting someone to be there.
Yeah, and more importantly, Epsilon were able to win a 2v2 over at C, and this keeps that bleed going right now, and Epsilon do seem to be in a much better control right now. Horik doing really good in this game, and more importantly, they just seem to be keeping that bleed ticking over and getting closer to the magic number.
Yeah, they are, and remember, if they drop below, well, if they drop 20 more tickets, then that will be Epsilon's favor for the first half. So let's see what happens here, as we do have Marcy now pushing him onto B. Now PKD trying to eliminate as many tickets as possible. Remember, if we see Epsilon drop below 10, that will be PKD picking up the first half here. Marsu, a little bit of ragdoll physics in there, jumping up really high, does get taken down. But again, PKD on A, PKD on B at the same time. They're trying to push in with 2 or 3 men, and they need these kills. But they unfortunately won't pick them up here, and they will be taken down. That's going to be PKD almost fully wiped out. The last man is going to be Tom now, who's over, I believe, at this A flag. And well, they will get some respawns in, but this is going to cost, remember, 10 more tickets to go before they will have lost the first half. Yeah,
and right now Epsilon's just doing a very, very good job. They've got the best hold in the game here, the B and the C, and this is danger time. Planetkey don't have much room here. They need to just rush in and try and get a flag as quick as possible. All
right, well now 5 tickets left to go here before it's going to be over, and I have to give credit to Epsilon. You know, they weren't playing so strong in this game, but they at least turned things around. They started getting the control back for themselves. They're losing it. Well, they're not losing on B because they actually got the kills. And it looks like that will be it here. So it's going to be Epsilon coming out of the first half with a 50-ticket lead. And that will be now Planetkey Dynamics in a really, really tough spot. Remember, Epsilon did win the first half on Lancang Dam, but things changed. They ended up losing in the end.
Yeah, Epsilon have been doing a lot of practice, I feel. And, you know, maybe a bit of soul-searching after their recent performance on Zavod before, and they seem to have done a lot better this time. But if anything, it comes down to Planetkey's start on both of these games has just been terrible. Yeah, both starts as the more favoured side, and they've got wiped both times.
I see that's what's kind of funny is that Epsilon, they changed up the strategy a little bit on the second restart right there. They sent 2 men towards C instead of just Horik, but they still won the fight. And they were able to win, I think it was like a 2v3 at B at the same time. So it was kind of like, all right, we just out-aimed you and really held on to that one. And again, got to give them credit. But right now, they still need to at least secure this half if they want to take it to Mountain 3, which will be on Locker between these 2 teams. And that one's going to be fun because that's a map we didn't get to see last time against these 2.
No, that's true. And you know, Planetkey can come back from this. They just need to be very, very careful on their break because they had a good break on Dam, but on Zavod, each time they've just been shut down, and it's just really nasty to see. And this map really does hinge off a strong start, let alone a start that ends up giving you a trip cap.
Yeah, you're not gonna. I'm never gonna complain about that if I ever got a trip cap in the beginning. And well, right now it looks like they will be restarting this half here in just a few seconds, and we will be getting underway with the second half. And remember, PKD up 1 map. Again, I didn't really expect them to win the first map, to be honest, on Lancang Dam when they were getting destroyed on it. And not to mention it's Epsilon's choice, but I mean, they did beat Epsilon yesterday on Zavod. They can do, I mean, it was only 1 ticket, but they won. And they can do it again. But it's going to be a tough one. 49 tickets, I got the official word from the admins. It was 49 lead for them. So let's see what's going to happen this time. It looks like we have gotten the restart in. It looks like both teams are going to be swapping sides. Epsilon over on the US side, and PKD now on the Russian side here. And let's see if PKD can take it. Another 2-0 again. We'll be going to map number 3 on Operation Locker.
Yeah, and this is hopefully Planetkey can take some inspiration from Epsilon's tactics and come up with something that might give him a bit of an edge here. But whenever I've seen Planetkey, they kind of play by the books. They don't really do anything particularly dangerous. They seem to just play standard in almost every game. And it hasn't been working out for them at all on Zavod.
And we're not seeing anyone take the engineer class to start things off with, to destroy any of these walls here. And I guess Epsilon sending 4 men, maybe just 2 or 3 over towards the B flag here. And on the other side, for PKD, they send 2 men towards the outside and that 1-on-1 in the middle. And it looks like it will go Epsilon's, or not Epsilon, sorry, PKD's way here, but they have to pick up 2 more kills. The action already still kicking off. It's now a 3-on-2 at the B flag here, but it will be swiftly turned into a 2v0. And they will, in fact, get control of B here, but at what cost? Can Jera pick up this 1v1? He needs this. If he can pick this up here, they will maintain that 2-1 hold, and they won't have to worry about that A flag. And it looks like he actually did get it. I didn't even notice that. David did get taken down, and that will be the early 2-1. Now let's see how well they can hold on to this.
Yeah, Asterix got a nice spawn above A, and I think this is going to really surprise Planetkey here. They probably don't expect any pressure to come but far. Actually, saying that scene seems to be ready for it. But while this is gone, that's another spawn. Outsider really far behind C, but he gets taken out. So is that B pressure winning out for Epsilon? And this is going to tie down a lot of Planetkey.
Well, let's see, can Tom pick up this 1v1? He knows the guy is there. The nade's going to come in as well. And now on the other side, Epsilon will know that there's a man currently sitting there. He's actually waiting for maybe a teammate to flank around the backside, but he actually has trading positions with Asterix. And it will be a 2-on-2 left again. Now a 2-on-1 over towards the speed flag. Tom, he's looking for that last man. He's looking for no respawns on the other side. It looks like he will be taken down here, but now it's 2 more people from PKD's side. And knows he gets taken down. That one's over to David 2K. Can he pick up the next 2 kills here? Because it's still a 2-on-2. There's going to be so many resources here, and it looks like it will finally be turned. Scene picks up 1. Again, PKD going for the respawn here. They really want to lock down this flag. Now it's a 3-on-2 yet again here. And it looks like they will eventually finally be able to pull it off here, as you see. Epsilon finally back away, and Jared picking up a big kill on Horik yet again at A. Remember, this is what PKD did so well, or at least Jared did so well, was shut down Horik and that constant backcapping.
Yeah, and those spawns are coming in for Epsilon. Actually really close to that A flag, and only Jera's there defending it, so that can be an overwhelming one. But Epsilon are more worried about pressure on C, and they're throwing everything. But there you go, Jera goes down to that A flag, completely open, and this bleed might switch over very quickly to Epsilon.
Well, it looks like they're going to try to hit C, or at least for PKD, but Nosy, I believe the last man standing gets taken down. And that will be finally Epsilon picking up the 2-1 here. Tom's still playing a little bit defensive. He has to at least shut down this push if they want to have hopes of again that 2-1 back for themselves. But in the meantime, the rest of them, well, at least one of them, Jera, spawning towards A. We'll get a respawn top of with a Nosy. And Duke will be the man in the 1-on-2 to defend this. And I actually want to tune in with him. And actually, speaking of tuning in with him, let's actually take a look or a listen in on their voice comms here to hear how they're playing this one out.
I see her, my buddy.
Hold C now.
Ah, get on ace.
Going jungle, going jungle.
He going C main gate.
I have frame spawn. I will go B.
Carry with machines. Yeah, one machine. One machine.
Spawn C and go jungle.
See here.
One back tanks B. Come to B. Who spawned here with me?
One dead.
Nice. Do that. Nice.
Okay, 2B, thanks.
One more.
We have to push together now.
I will spawn.
DCC main gate.
Hold C. Good. Hold C.
Again, just quick, precise answers from everyone, saying they've gotten a kill or where they are. And either way, PKD still have the 2-1 for a split second longer, as finally Epsilon have made their push over towards the A5 and a Nosy. Well, he's going to be now on a 1-on-2 here, and I'd imagine the camps of PKD are starting to get really pumped up here, because remember, it's 49 tickets, but they're currently leading by about 30.
Yeah, David playing slow game over A, which is his preferred game, it seems. Him and a Nosy trying to bait themselves out around the A flag, and that's really what's the switching one. C seems to be staying for Epsilon on a regular basis, but A and B seem to be going back and forth all the time.
Yeah, very true, and Horik's really stepped up into like kind of the Duke or David role, since really picking up a lot of kills on the defense here. As you see him, he's going to lock down C, not to mention Epsilon going to lock down A as well. So 2-1 back on the side of Epsilon. They're going to start chipping away at these tickets here in PKD. They need to get some respawns in, but look at that outsider being taken down. They haven't been able to get all 5 men in here in at least quite a while, and they're going to send at least a random spawn or 2 over towards the C flag. Look at this, Jaren and Nosy, 2v1. Can Horik defend against us? He gets the first one. He's going to be spotted out on the second one here. Just a few seconds. He jumps down. Look at that. He's right behind him. The great movement by him. Got him in the right position, but he's taken out in the end anyways. But we will have Marsu finally come from the back. The respawns, or at least the revives come in, but it's not enough, and that will be PKD taking C here. But they've lost out on B, and they need to send these 2 men over towards A, as we see David holding on to it.
Yeah, David is the most crucial player, and they need to hold this A flag as quick as possible. And spawns are coming in all around it for Planetkey, but this is going to make that C flag really vulnerable.
And David got a double kill with that nade over into that underpass right there and completely locked that down. Look at that. Ticket's pretty much dead even here. And PKD, they are struggling. They need to cap something over soon. And we have Jarrett finally making his way around, but he doesn't get the kill. He doesn't even get the tag right there, and Horic finally gets the better of him, and that will be A maintained. And that leaves a Nosy almost all by himself here. Not that underpass, not that juncture, trying to get back in towards the A flag. And with PKD, I mean, what do they need to do right now? They're throwing a couple of random spawns in as you saw Jarrett come in back to the map, but they're not really winning most of these firefights.
They need to just get a good, clean wipe on Epsilon and then bait them up to that A flag and just keep them there. Right now, that's their only chance. And Planetkey here are getting a lot of the kills, but they're losing out on C flag once again, and more importantly, they're losing a lot of people in trying to defense of a failed flag. So, yeah, this is not looking good for Planetkey, but they can do this. They just need to play smart and get a good clean wipe on Epsilon.
Yeah, they got 20 tickets to work with. They go up against the 82 out of Epsilon. But look at all these respawns coming in at the B flag here. They expect the heavy push, but look at this. Epsilon, they're winning it. Horic picking up one. He will pick up another one as well. And they just went 2v4 and completely wiped them out. Tom, the only man setting towards the C flag. And Epsilon, they're going to get the cap on B. They're going to maybe maintain C as they pick up the kill. And this should be a tri-cap.
Yeah, and this is really, really bad for Planetkey. They're just getting locked into the C flag once again. There is a spawn we've seen up near A, so there's a chance they could get a 2-cap back here. But this is so dangerous. Look how Epsilon just throwing everyone at C.
Well, the thing is, there's only about 6-7 tickets left to work with on the side of PKD here, and I'm going to go ahead and probably call it because they don't have a lot of men alive. They need to go for a last push, but they can't really afford it. I'm going to say that will be now Epsilon taking map number 2 and bringing it into map number 3 on Operation Locker. Very well played by them, considering they didn't have the advantage at the beginning, but they're able to stay calm and turn things around.
Yeah, Planetkey did the best they could, but Epsilon were far too much of them on Zavod. Far too good on their starts. And that's where Planetkey really fell down. They just didn't have a strong start at all.
And you got to have that strong start, like you're saying, to really make things work for you. They're looking a little bit different than they did, obviously, in the last game. A little bit more back down to earth. But look at all those Red Bulls. I don't know who that man is right there, but I'm surprised he's not shaking.
Yeah, he likes the Red Bulls. Maybe he'll end up like Wolberg when he's shaking all the time after a game. But I don't think that's anything to do with Red Bull. Yeah, and Epsilon looked really good in that round, in that map. And they looked really average for what they're capable of doing on Dam. Maybe it was a bit of nerves. Maybe now they're playing to their full potential.
Well, we can see that clearly the little bit of a crash on the server didn't affect them this time, obviously, no. And that's definitely a good sign for them if you're an Epsilon fan, and obviously trying to reclaim their spot, at least back into the winners. Well, they're technically still on the loser side, but at least have a second chance there, going up against Dinitas a little bit. Not Dinitas, sorry. No, this is their semifinals. What am I talking about, Jason? Come on. I'm just dumb. This is for the second slot, obviously, from Group A. Yeah, it's been a weird day because of, obviously the server crash and me just being tired and not knowing how to map. I'm still embarrassed actually about that. I was like, yeah, 90 tickets. Once I fall below that, I'm like, wait a minute. You gave me this weird look like 90?
Yeah,
and then our producer comes to my ear and he's like, Jason, it's 60, not 90. I'm just like, oh.
Then you were like 59?
Well, because if they hit 59, then it's over. Yeah. But yeah. I don't know. Operation Locker, let's talk about this beast of a map. We've seen it a couple of times here. What do you expect to see out of both teams for this one? Because I don't really know which team this is going to favor most.
I think Epsilon is probably a little bit more favored on this one, and this is going to be a meat grinder on map. But you can see Horic kind of switch. Jera is a very prolific killer, and so is Outsider and Scene. They did some really good plays in their previous game. But then again, everyone from Planetkey chips in. The same can be said about Epsilon. It's the roles they play, and that will be the decider on this one.
All right, Epsilon, they will be over on the Russian side here, and that's going to mean PKD over on the US. And look at this, 3 men coming onto the outside for the side of Epsilon, and 2 for PKD. And I really want to see who's going to win on this firefight, because PKD, they obviously get the position advantage a little bit earlier on, but can they survive? And right now, we'll see he will not. He'll be taken down here, and that means a nosy. I'm not sure he's going to last much longer, as he does actually pick up one, so he gets a little something going. But look at this, almost a full wipe actually out of both teams. There's only a couple of men remaining, and PKD, they will get control of A. They will lock this one down, and they will have an early 2-1 here, forcing Epsilon to play from the outside.
Yeah, Planetkey were always going to struggle on that that C flag out there, but they got a good kill on Banana. That opened up the A flag. They got into the A flag, captured over nice and quick, and this is a great start for Planetkey, but they need to keep control of this A flag, and right now they're kind of out of position to stop the cap.
All right, well, let's see what happens because they have 3 men there. They have even the flank coming in from Jer on the backside. Marsu, the last man standing, trying to get a respawn or 2 in here, but he might not hear that. The guy's coming up from right behind him, and he will get taken down here. So that will be A picked up yet again, A and B. Now Epsilon being forced to play again from the outside, and you could probably talk to us a little bit about how hard it is to really push back in once you're forced.
It's all about, like, you know how many you're coming through most of the time. You're going to see, more importantly, you're always going to be able to reposition to stop them coming in. And that's what you're starting to see here. Planetkey know how many are stacking outside of that A flag. So because of that, they're able to position accordingly to stop it. But saying that, they are massively open in the middle tunnel, and that is worrying for anyone trying to defend A.
He talked about Jared picking up some kills. Unfortunately, he's not going to get the 1-ins. He just taken out from the backside. But Tom trying to come in, trying to make something work here. Unfortunately, Duke, I guess, did suicide there. I'm not sure what that one was about. I guess he jumped to his death, or maybe just killed himself. But either way, PKD now losing control of A. They're the ones going towards the outside. And this is something we saw really weird in groups, is that most teams really left C open. They didn't really care about capping over. It's more about holding that A and B in here. And I like to see that Planetkey is really a team that, you know what, we know they're probably going to be open on C. Let's just take it. Who cares? It's not the best position. It'll at least give us that flag.
Yeah, definitely, and it's back and forth right now on the C flag as Duke PT getting a kill and then getting onto the flag, and there you go, that bleed. This is a potential trip cap as David takes out Tom Deer B, and there you go. But this could all switch quite quickly. No, it won't. Asterix slams Jera as he comes through the door at A, and all of a sudden, Planetkey are going to be stuck at the B flag.
All right, so at least look at one back here, but
no one capturing as well. Come on.
Well, you know what? Speaking of that, because maybe it's a little bit of lack of communication, let's go ahead and take a look, or a little bit of listen in on their side and see what's going through their minds, because I think they're starting to feel that pressure.
C-gate, right side. And now from the... Not...
Hey, no, chill. Lol, C-gate got me again.
Low banana. On the... Oh, what the fuck? Who rest? Focus up.
People two.
One is still C-gate.
Is in the middle. C-gate out. C-gate.
I'm going C then.
Yeah. Wait.
There's one more C.
Where?
On the hill.
Oh, banana, come.
Hey, no, you're coming.
Hill, very low. You got him? No. Hurry, C. It's right side.
Tunnel. Yeah, but it's coming more. One more.
One C.
He's in kitchen now. He's in kitchen.
Tunnel, people coming.
Yeah, he's coming from Peeper.
No, this one actually I killed you because you're. Let's push.
Come on, focus. Get
more right there, as you can hear him say, no, I killed you, and so much shout out focus, guys. I mean, there seems to be that little bit of lack of focus, and they're sort of this game really slip away because they're down 30 tickets right now. And Epsilon, if you give them a finger, they're just going to continue to run with this here and take your whole arm.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, that was really, really messy for Planetkey there on that A flag, and I really, they need to keep people alive when they're this far forward. They can't allow themselves to get wiped. They're picking up kills a lot of the time in the connectors here. And what they should do is what Fnatic do. Go around the back of C. Do not keep focusing on A like this because you are just getting slammed.
Well, it looked like Outsider was trying to do that right there, but he goes for a 1-for-1 trade onto Marsu. But Jera getting a respawn onto this A flag. You actually spot the 1 man out on Infirmary. He'll be taken down though. Asterix, can he get the second? It looks like Tom will pick up the kill though and will stop that. So they will get the 2-1 finally back for themselves, but the damage has been done. They're down 40 tickets.
Yeah, definitely. Epsilon have really never been going for any random spawns here. They've been keeping very tight on spawning on their squad mates. You can hear it on their comms. They say it all the time, spawn on me, spawn now, spawn 2, spawn 3. And they mass bomb a lot of the time on these flags, and they have not really gone for random. Many teams like to do that.
All right, now they go for the push on A here, but Jera has something to say about it, picking up 1, but he does get dropped here, and the revives will come in here. So Epsilon going to get the complete control of the A flag yet again. And look at this, seeing the last man sending over towards the B flag. Will he be the last man for long? He does get dropped, and that was for a split second there, a squad wipe coming in. And right now, you really have to feel for PKD because this ticket disadvantage that they're at is only getting bigger, and they need to stop it sometime soon. But how can they stop Asterix, who's currently at 12-2?
Oh, right now they need to worry more about the flags, if anything, and finally they decide to switch up and go for C. But the problem is it's already a bit too late. They go for C whenever they can get a pick. They cleared it up. They got the pick. Asterix is going to move around now to defend the hill. They just need to move a lot quicker. And right now they've just been stuck into going for the A flag too much. Yeah, and this is a problem.
Well then, you can see obviously on their cameras right there. So you're having a little bit of issues yet again. I think we can probably hop out of the game and take a look at the players, because you can see just in their faces how frustrated they are with this. Because, you know, if anything, PKD, they should be, I guess, happy that happened. But still, you want to have like a legitimate game. You don't want to win by a technicality. You want to win by beating the other team and being better.
And Planetkey were very close to taking the C flag there and getting the bleed back in their favor. It was only Asterix who's going to be able to stop them, and yeah, that's a nasty one. And David there, obviously very happy, but it only seems to ever happen to him.
I don't understand. Why does it only happen to Epsilon? Have we seen a server crash on any other team?
No, not at all. It's just been Epsilon.
That's exactly what I was thinking right there, but a lot cleaner from those seats. I mean, it's again, it's really unfortunate. I mean, the thing is, luckily for Epsilon, they were doing pretty strong. And you mentioned something that PKD were about to cap over a certain flag. Was it C that you were mentioning?
Yeah, they were about to overwhelm C, and I'd kind of been calling it for a while. And what is it with Safe? Even if a mic's nowhere near him, you can always still hear him.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same with Wahlberg as well. You can see in the far corner there, when he wants to let you know he's playing the game, you'll hear him no matter how far away you are.
He's the kind of man that when he whispers, you hear him from across the room.
Yes.
Doesn't really have an indoor voice at all for him.
No, he doesn't.
But I mean, it's nice to hear Safe, though, being at least vocal, considering he's having some throat problems. It seems like he's better right now, and we'll be getting a word from our admins. What we're going to be doing here is, you know, Epsilon. Some of them are more frustrated than the others. I see some smiles on some faces, some, you know, sighs of frustration on some others. And again, I mean, PKD, kind of lucky for them on that one, though.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Either way, we're going to head over to Red Eye and Pansy to break down at least the first two maps that we've seen so far and get their thoughts on map number 3.
Yes, thanks, Jason. Yes, with Pansy right now, and difficult with these server crashes.
Yeah.
And you have to ask the question: why is it always Epsilon? What are they doing?
I'm sure there's a couple of people here who could answer that, and there's. But it's unlucky for them, I do feel. It really is. It does lose that momentum. They're building up nicely on the second map. They're starting to chip away a solid lead into their favor. I believe they're around the 100 mark of the other team, around the 70. So they were working on getting that nice solid hold. There's a couple of squad wipes working in their favor. And to have it cut at that point, we saw what happened before. They must be terrified. Even just, as a team, you've got to be so nervous going, we remember this happening before, and we didn't recover too well.
Yeah, but then on the other hand, we had a server crash earlier on in the game.
And they were fine.
And they came back from that. And it didn't seem to affect them in the same way. I mean, initially maybe they lost out, but they put it behind them and they've drawn the map up, and we're now sitting at 1-1. I think the official score I'm getting from the admins is around about 103 to 52 in that last game in terms of tickets. So decent lead.
Yeah, solid. Very solid.
Yeah.
PKD needs to be careful, obviously, but Lock is a map that you can really extend those leads on. It's a map that once you get that 2-1 hold, you work out their spawns, you stay smart and safe with it. You don't let that random spawn become an issue that we saw a couple of teams doing, overreaching for the triple cap and kind of underestimating where they're at. They could build off that. PKD, they're going to struggle getting back in, but as we said, that first, the issues coming in really could shake the teams, and Epsilon seem to be really rather unlucky.
They do. Do you think they're mentally a bit stronger today? Because they're not quite throwing their toys out of the pram. They're not quite getting upset as they did yesterday and throwing the game away, because it really did feel like that yesterday.
In a way.
They dominated the opening part of that match. They had an 84 ticket lead. Then they came back and they had to restart the map, and they ended up with a 42 ticket lead, which wasn't enough in the end. It lost them the map. They just seemed to crumble. I mean, it really was a big land crumble. This time round, we haven't seen the same. We've seen a much more resilient side.
Well, I think they had a very, not a rude awakening on the first map, but they got pushed quite hard. They're not underestimating their opponents now. They are playing at a very face value level. We saw it on the first map in its complete entirety there. Very close scorelines coming through, just about clinch at the end. And playing maps like Dam especially, it can be condemning. You know, you can literally get locked out, you know, get left down in the cold and you're out of it. And that's where you see the big leads happening. But they fought hard and they kept close, as close as they could. But, you know, it's a good warm-up for them. I think that's mentally got them ready now. You know, take the first map as a warm-up if you have to. You didn't do well, you didn't win it, for example. Okay, well, we got close. We got so damn close there. We can keep ourselves ready. We can think about what's coming up here. We can think about how to prepare for the next map. All right, our strong points were here. Our teamwork, a little bit shaky. Our execution, not so great. Okay, communication is key now. Let's make it clear and make sure we're really doing what we need to. And I think they can do that, personally.
Okay. From PKD's point of view, great first map from their point of view. Really, really strong. Looked the part. Made a comeback when they needed to make a comeback.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, their first half, it looked for a while like they were just going to let this slip by, and they looked like they might be dominated. And then all of a sudden, they just clicked into another gear, locked the spawns down, knew exactly where they were going to get hit from, and suddenly the whole complexity of that first map changed. They seem able to do that, because that's not the first time we've seen them do that this weekend.
No, it's not. I don't know if they're a slower starting team in these sort of environments. They are considered maybe not top 3 team in their kind of abilities at times, but they certainly can kind of step up to the mark when it really matters. And as you said, it literally was like watching all the pieces just click into place, one after the other. The teamwork, they even got thrown out a couple of times. I vaguely remember they had A, they had B. B was the vital one they wanted to keep. They got completely destroyed. They got squad wiped, I believe, in the end. I think Jero was one of the players who kind of was a big factor into this. And actually, you know, not only did they take it back over, which is quite impressive. B's not easy to break, as we all damn know. They held it. And they worked with the spawns. They were constantly having the right mentality, which isn't easy to maintain, especially when you're against a team with the name of Epsilon. It's a huge mountain to get over.
They also showed us some dynamic team play as well in their first map. There was a second half where B was the pivotal point. They knew that they had to, fight for every sinew in their body, but they also wanted to try and hold on to A as much as they could. But Epsilon, they kind of said, okay, you want C? Have C. We don't care about C. You could just keep C for the entire game, and if you leave one guy down there guarding it, then we're playing 5v4 up here. And it was smart. And what was even smarter later on in the game was that as the ticket bleed started to get lower and lower, Epsilon, you could see it almost go through their brain. They were like, we have to get A as well. We can't just have B. We're going to have to hit A. And when they hit A, they rotated to C, and they hadn't even touched C for 20 minutes in the match. And suddenly they're like, guys, I think they're going to come the way. We should switch to C. And then they still had a two-site hold. So really dynamic, really smart.
To have that kind of it's not even just, the best thing that I always hear on the comms that I listen out for when we tune in, it's not always, okay, I've spotted this player. They'll make the assumption, okay, maybe they've got the random spawn. If they don't, I don't see them here, they're probably there. They make the initiative calls that paid off them, especially in PKD's favor, and it forced Epsilon to go back to, as Dogba, I believe, put it, the hammer tactic of just having to throw bodies at these sites, and it didn't really work out for them. Once a team gets set up and they feel confident and they're fast and they rotates, like you mentioned, it's very hard to keep a team like that down. That's when they start building up these leads, and you think, oh, it's still close, so these flags are going over. It's like, yeah, they're going over. But as you can hear, they're still holding the 2-to-1s, and they're getting the kills to match. So those tickets just start tumbling away, and Epsilon are getting left with this scoreline of, oh, Jesus Christ, I thought we were doing okay. And then suddenly they're in this horrible predicament, and they're down to those hammer tactics, just throw people at it. So, I'm glad that Epsilon kind of turned it around a little bit on the second map here, but we're going to have to see if they can keep doing it.
All right, thank you very much, Lauren. We're going to head back over to our commentary team. The chicken is still alive, but how much longer? Let's find out. Epsilon versus PKD. The resumption continues with Dogba and Jason.
I swear that headset gets closer and closer to Pansy every time I see her at the desk, and I'm not sure if it's her pulling it towards her or it just happens to be that way.
Yeah, I think it's definitely...
She's got sticky hands sometimes.
She's got psychic powers. Telekinetic powers pulling it towards her.
Huh. That would make sense for a lot of other things. But yeah, we're getting away here with obviously the restart with PKD up against Epsilon, and we got official word from our admin. So we finished at a score of 103-51 in favor of Epsilon. So that means Epsilon need to drop below 47 tickets for them to have lost the first half, and PKD need to drop below 99 for them to lose the first half. So that's just to update you guys on what's going to be happening here in... We'll be getting this game underway in just a few seconds. We're going to be on the same sides. Obviously, PKD back on the US and Epsilon back on the Russian. And yeah, let's see how they kick this one off here, because from what I remember, Epsilon got a very, very early start.
Yeah, definitely. And Planetkey here got a bit of a reprieve in a way. They can have a better start than they did last time. But yeah, they know how many tickets they don't have. He knows he hasn't spawned in. He's waiting for the calls and kind of an idea of where Epsilon are. And there you go. It looks like he knows he still hasn't spawned in, actually. Where is he? They still have not committed their 5th man to the game yet.
Nosy, where are you?
Yeah, there you go. The random spawn, because they've just lost out at sea. They really should have been playing their full 5-man. Finally, he comes in and yeah.
Comes in to die. That's how he came in, and wasn't like a wrecking
suicide. It's really strange.
He did.
That's a full 5-man wipe on Planetkey. This is a really bad start for them. This is awful.
That is really unfortunate. Yeah, very well indeed. And right now, I'm still going to be more than happy with this because you know what? They're going to pick up a tri-cap here and same. Have a spawn over towards the outside. The rest of them spawning in towards this spawn area. They're being picked apart one by one here. And right now, remember, 99 is going to be that threshold. They don't have a lot of tickets to work with.
Not at all, but they are spread on the map in a good place to actually inflict a bit of damage here onto Epsilon. But it all comes down to a lot of 1v1s, and to be honest, Planetkey have not been pulling them off recently. There they are. They get one outside of taking down David 2K, and they are getting a capture out of sea. But every firefight they have which goes against them, especially the big ones, brings them closer and closer to the cutoff point.
So it's funny, Jared like jumps around the corner, pointing at him, "You die," but he didn't. It was really funny. Anyway, so outsider does pick up a kill though over towards the middle section. Lucas Epsilon getting some really random respawns in here, some nice respawns, trying to come for the backside of B, and well, David will be taken down, but Ashik still in the vicinity, trying to help out. Actually, nade himself. Don't do that again. We've already seen you do that once today. And he will just back up and back away from this. Maybe regroup here and try to go for the push somewhere else, because right now, PKD down to 119 tickets. And again, they only have 20 more to work with before they will have lost out on this first map in the first half.
Yeah, this is a devastating one for Planetkey, really. If this had been their start before, you know, it wouldn't be so bad. But it's not, and the tickets from the previous round is, well, from this round before, is really what's causing them so many issues.
And this is the final push because they got a full squad wipe. They have to spawn in with everyone that they possibly can. And right now the tri-cap's coming in. It could actually become real here, but we will be taken down. So it's just a 2-to-1, but look at this line defense. This is going to be so hard to break here. And PKD have to be very careful about this. They need this to secure a much bigger ticket lead than they're currently sit on, because right now, it's at 80 ticket lead, if I can do math correctly, which you've seen in the past I can't do for Epsilon.
Yeah, Planetkey here are really just clasping at straws, and it's just not going that well at all. They're getting called out all the time, and there you go, that's another squad wipe.
That's it.
And that, yeah, there's nothing they can do. This is just real good play from Epsilon. They have this map really planned out, so tactical, backed up by their skill as well. This is a very, very strong Epsilon lineup.
All right, so it looks like they will be able to end this one with 74 tickets at the end of the first half. Hopefully the producer can let me know if I'm wrong on that one. But I did do my little subtraction table here, as you can see on my paper, you know, crossing out the 1, the 2s in there to like really 4th grade kind of math. But it looks like that's a huge lead, 74 tickets. That's going to be very tough to beat if you're on the side of PKD.
Very, very difficult. They need a very, very strong start, and more importantly, they need to maintain it, and that's something we haven't seen them be able to do very often.
Yeah, and we're getting away here with the second half very shortly. I think that is just clarifying that everything is correct, letting the teams know the scores so they have an idea when they come into the second half, so they don't, you know, like, well, we didn't know what score we had to be at to lose this one. And, you know, PKD, give me your honest opinion. Can they come back from this? Do you think they can win?
I think Epsilon have probably done enough in that previous round to really finish it, and I got a feeling the next round is going to be just as painful to watch. It's going to be the icing on the cake, I feel.
I feel like, okay, so you probably talk to me about this a little bit more, but like if you're ever over 50 tickets, it's a mental block to you. It's like, holy crap, that's a giant lead. But once you drop to 49, it's like, that's not that bad.
Yeah, no, I think around the 40-50 mark is when you think it's very, it's still doable, but you need those plays to come in. You know, that momentum we talked about a lot yesterday. Everyone needs to start doing their part, and no one needs to give up. As soon as that happens, it's game over, really. And I kind of feel Planetkey are kind of accepting it already.
Yeah, not just, you can see them typing in chat. They are just kind of confirming what the number is. I think David said 73, but we do have all the casters agreeing with 74, and we're being told by the producer it's 75. So it's in there somewhere. It's going to be 75. That's the official wording. All right, so that is that threshold they need to drop below before they will lose. I'm just going to let them know that it is 75. But, you know, it's kind of funny because I remember yesterday we were talking about our predictions. It was you, me, Pansy talking about it. And I remember saying, and she'll deny this probably as much as she possibly can, but I did say PKD will win against Epsilon the first time, but lose the second time.
Well, yeah.
Do you remember that? Do you agree with me? Yeah, see, thank you. Thank you.
I kind of felt whoever won the first map would probably dictate who wins this one. The problem was, I didn't think the first map was going to be something like Dam.
Oh, I thought you were saying you didn't think it would crash. I thought you were going to say that. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Dam was probably one of like the weirdest maps. I expected that one to be banned out and to be playing on, I believe it was Siege of Shanghai as the other possibility.
Yeah, Shanghai hasn't popped up too much. A lot of teams like to ban it out or just leave it to the third map, but...
well, they did play on it last time, if I remember correctly, as a second map, yeah. And that did go Planetkey Dynamics' way, and maybe that's why they didn't pick it, because they didn't want to go up against Planetkey when they had their biggest advantage on that map.
Yeah, definitely. And so will Planetkey be able to pull this one off? We'll find out very soon. I mean, Epsilon, really, that AC hold affairs was brilliant. They didn't ever go for a random spawn at B.
Yeah, and we also saw something really weird happen in the beginning, too. It was Enozy not spawning.
He spawned, and then he committed suicide and spawned again. I couldn't work out what he did. I think, actually, he might have fell off the side out of C. That could be the only logical explanation to that.
And still, even then, that's not really logical either.
Not logical, but it's the only reason I work out he killed himself.
True, and now PKD on the Russian side here, Epsilon over on the US side, and right now, looks like the beginning trades are going to be a 1 for 2 in favor of Epsilon. It looks like Marcy going to keep that one going for a 1 for 3, and they're off to a strong start here. Remember, 75 is that threshold. That is a lot of tickets to have. That is going to be really hard to turn around from, and they have to have a strong start, which they just aren't having yet.
No, not at all. And you can see a line of Epsilon players attacking both C and A, and there's the random spawns that Planetkey are willing to take for Epsilon or not, and they get a B cap for it. And Epsilon's attacks over at A are kind of following here, unless Marcy can come out huge.
Oh, he's already killed one. He gets the second one, the grenade onto a Nosy, and he will come up very big for his team. They're going to get the cap on A here. They will lose out on C, though, in the meantime, but either way, they fought out. They picked up quite a few kills, and it's not even necessarily about the flags. They can win this based off just playing this deathmatch style.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, Planetkey here, C and B, not the best hold. One, it's very vulnerable to a B spawn. And this is a precarious hold for them right now. And this is only one flag away from being what Epsilon had last time. And they held it almost for the entire game.
Yeah, and right now, outside trying to push in through sensors here, but his teammate getting naded out, seen being destroyed right there. And I think we need to listen to the comms of PKD for a little bit for this one, because remember, this is their last chance. If they lose this one, they are out of the entire tournament.
B gate.
Running behind A gate.
I'll clear 2 guys are spawning.
Go ahead, go ahead. One is marked on B.
Out of nowhere here.
One down, banana. One more. Nice.
Come on.
Race.
Yeah,
That's done. It's over.
No! 75!
No. The racing guy.
One kitchen.
Kitchen.
2 guys B.
Focus, come on! One is kitchen.
Got one kitchen. Spawn at me, fast.
One yellow.
One down at B. One kitchen. Whoa, fuck me.
There you go. That one moment it happened for MYM quite famously was the bit keep playing it. Someone's already said it's already over, and that is not the mind frame you want. It's still 75 tickets as they were showing there, and this time they can still do this. They just need to keep this hold going.
Yeah, they very well could. I mean, we saw, was it Zavod earlier? That they pulled back a huge lead, but unfortunately just wasn't enough to really carry it through. Or was that actually that was on Zavod, where they almost were able to do that. But either way, I mean, PKD, they would pick up some kills. They're going to start attacking the A here. They're going to lose on C, but they will maybe be able to pull off this A push here. It's going to be a 2-on-4, and Duke can be forced back here, trying to heal up at 19 HP, and he will actually have one man off to his left. Actually, that man was killed. I didn't notice that by Horik in the jailway, and they actually pick up the other 2 kills as well. So right now they're holding the 2-1, and they're getting ever closer to advancing through into the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. Planetkey here really struggle, and it's just so many wipes have just come back to haunt them, and that pressure onto A there it's really been the reason. I think they constantly go for that A flag, and they've constantly lost out quite big on it.
Oh, Jarrett trying to pick up this kill on the man right around the corner. Will get it eventually. So that could open up C here, but he's going to continue to push along. There's one man right up to his side, and really actually knows him. He, in fact, picks up the kill. That is a huge win for them. They're going to get C here. Now they need to get back to B as quick as possible, but look at this. Is that Asterix? No, it's not Asterix. It's Duke trying to push out, trying to contest him a little bit. And right now, Epsilon, they're getting really sloppy.
Yeah, definitely, but they know how close they are here, and I think really they're kind of lost in that. There they are, going random spawns for the first time in a while. Horik and Duke PT going for that B flag, and you know they've got a bit of room to maneuver right now. They can do pretty much anything they want, and they're winning out big at A once again.
Well, they are picking up B at the same time as well, seeing the last man standing, but not for long. Will eventually be dropped down. So 2-1 going back for Epsilon here. And Marsu currently 7-2, Horik 7-3, starting to step up further teams this time. And PK, this is, I would say this is their last push, because number 75, it's almost there. Yeah, definitely. And another good wipe like that against them is pretty much going to be it. And you can see Epsilon Novak, that big kill from Asterix there, really just solidifying a lot of this defense. I mean, he knows he needs to break in as best as he can and just do some damage, because right now, they have got no other chance if they lose out on this flag. This is going to be it. And the thing is, it's going to be hard because they're sitting there with 2 extra tickets to work with against the 98 on the side of Epsilon. And last man in the squad is going to be Jared. No respawns will be coming in, and that's going to be it. They can't afford to get anyone back in this game. And with that 2 cap eventually going to be coming in for the side of Epsilon, that will, in fact, secure them their spot into the playoffs to play against Pyrogen a little bit later on today. Yeah, definitely. And a much better performance from Epsilon. A lot of naysaying, even from the Epsilon team at one point, saying that they don't think they can win anymore. It's pretty much been proven wrong. And, you know, they just need to play like that a lot more often and stop doubting themselves. They should just come into a game expecting the server to maybe crash, and then so when it happens, they won't even think about it. Yeah, I don't know if I don't think it's the crushing they're worried about. It's team performance all round, and, you know, that was much better than previous performances so far. It was, and I mean, Marsu, he finally, and I keep pointing him out, but for good reason, because you pointed him out yesterday. He's the unsung hero of the team. He always puts up good numbers. He's always, as the pros talk about, one of the best players in Battlefield, and he wasn't performing well in the first 2 maps, but right there we finally start to pick up the kills. He ended at 7-2 in that one, and when he's playing well, it seems like their entire team does well. Yeah, and also, like, everyone really was chipping in a way. Asterix was very important in Dam, in keeping that a close and competitive game. Obviously, Marsu's always there, but Horik really stepped up a bit, and he broke them open on Zavod, and that started to give him the control and the confidence to move forward. And that was just from an initial break, straight down in C, getting 2 kills, getting a flag capture in an important place. And the thing was, he was struggling with confidence himself. I mean, he maybe not have said it, but the fact that he was shut down by Jero on Zavod when they played yesterday is like a big mental barrier to him. He's kind of like, I don't know if I can take a 1v1, and when you're starting to doubt yourself, you don't have the confidence that you can win out in a duel, then you're not going to win in the end. And I guess he kind of got over that hump because he was definitely starting to be allowed to play that Horik role, that go really far out on the side, pick up some flags, and force the team to really watch their backs. Well, it ended up being David who ended up taking that role, it seems, and it seems a bit of a switch up there because David started to take a lot of EA flags, especially on Zavod, and Horik was defending more of the time. Very slow role, and yeah, but Horik's also on the attack now, and that helps. I think he's a very good player up front. He does a lot of damage. Maybe doesn't get as many kills as, say, Duke PT, who just murders people, but you know, getting kills in big team fights in the 3v3s is obviously important, but 1v1 is just as important. It gets you the flag, and in most cases can even get you trip caps and the bleed, and that's the most important thing in Battlefield. I think one thing we should talk about before we do go to the post-match interview is the fact that, you know, Planetkey, they played pretty well. I mean, they didn't do the best this season. They've kind of always been, you know, a team that hasn't had their name out there too much, but they did very well. I saw some really good things out of them. I'm actually really happy to see how they do in the next season. Yeah, they do seem to have some really good performances. The problem is it seems to be on on maps completely. It's never like from one game to another game. It's only on certain maps that they rise to the occasion. Yeah. And Zavod really wasn't that game. A little bit unfortunate for them, but that's going to be it for us. We're going to head over to Red Eye, who has an interview with Reaper to talk about Epsilon and how they're getting into the playoffs.
Thank you very much. Yes, with Reaper once again. What a game, what a set of games that you've had. And again, server crashes, but let's not talk about those so much. I mean, it's difficult, we said yesterday, and your team were very affected by it mentally. They were very fragile. What have you guys talked about overnight to come back and maybe be stronger today?
After we watch the football match, we are doing a very long and deep sleep. wake up and said that we are fully prepared for the crashes. So if we crashed, we don't care. We just get focused and go on. We have to take it. So, and the first map we just tried it out. So this is our worst map. But we thought it. If we play the best maps, what we do, we have crashes. So we tried the worst maps or worse maps. But it's happened again. So I don't know what happens. Always us. We have to go and keep forward, but it's really hard.
Okay, and then, so let's talk about the maps a little bit. First map, you go down again. What are you thinking? You're standing there behind the team. Are you just like, oh, what do we have to do here? Why us? What does this keep happening? I mean, what do you then say to the guys to go, actually, we can still win this. We can still come back and win 2-1.
When it's happened, I'm stay calm and say, it's no problem, guys. We prepared it. We expected it. We have to focus. But when it's happened twice, and the second time, I can't believe it. So, and it's happened third time. I don't know.
You guys have shown great resilience, though. You've shown fantastic resilience to be able to come back. Last season, it affected you really badly. We saw yesterday it affected you really badly. Today, it hasn't affected you. You've won your match. You're in the semi-finals.
Yeah, because it's funny. No, it isn't funny. It's funny because we don't can do it serious if the game is funny. Okay. That's all.
All right. Well, best of luck in your semi-final. It's going to be a tough game against Pyrogen. You got any words for them?
Have fun. They are friends. They really like them, and I hope we don't crash. And it will be a fair and equal game.
Well, best of luck for you, Reaper, and your team. So, Epsilon do make their way through to the semi-final. They've done it the hard way, but they are there, and they'll take on Pyrogen a little bit later on today. We've also got the resumption of Group B coming up. Can Team Dignitas get themselves out of trouble, or is it MYM that continue the run for a second title? We'll find out after the break.